The freedom. The freedom of the sea, the excitement of the unknown, commercial fishing, sport fishing. It's always an adventure. Every time you throw a net in the water or you put a hook in the water, you're out there to catch the big one. It's an adrenaline rush. It's a fun way of life. My name is Bob Bonanno. I'm from Antioch, California. I am a boat and permit holder in Bristol Bay drift net salmon fishery. I'm third generation up there. My grandfather, my father, and now myself.
There's something so challenging about fishing in a region that is wild, that is strangely beautiful. Regardless of anything I do or any compensation, I still do this work because I believe in it so passionately. Just as I think small farmers believe so passionately in what they provide to the consumers and the heritage that they have, I think we have the same. We so revere small family farmers, and we're only beginning to learn about the value of small fishing businesses. My name is Ann Mosness. I live in Bellingham, Washington, and I fished Bristol Bay for 22 years.
There's just something about being out on the sea alone, and the feeling that you get from doing what you truly love to do is something that can't be matched. I've driven truck, I've worked in rock pits, I've done lots of different stuff part-time in my life, and yeah, those are interesting for a short period of time, but they turn into a chore after a while. Fishing never turns into a chore. There's an old phrase that we use, that work is our joy, and that is pretty much what fishing is all about. My name is Bruce Jalla. I'm from Clatskanie, Oregon, and I'm a fifth-generation commercial fisherman.
I think I'm going to keep fishing because it's what I did when I was a kid, and it's what my elders did, it's what my family did. I just don't ever want to lose that because it's been such an important part of my life and a part of my family's life. My name is Werner Wilson. I'm a Yupik Eskimo from Dillingham, which is in Bristol Bay, Alaska. The Yupik people of Alaska depend on seafood and fisheries caught in Bristol Bay. It's everything to us. It's our livelihood, our food, it's our way of life and has been for thousands of years.
My name's David Harsela, and I come from Seattle, Washington. And I am the current president of our largest fishing organization in Bristol Bay. But I've also worked on the waters of Bristol Bay for 30 plus years, and I went up there originally with my dad, and my uncle fished there back in the sailboat days. So I have connections going back, and it was an easy place for me to grow up in.
My father used to carry me down the ladder to put me in the boat to go fishing with him on the Columbia River when I was probably 5, 6, 7 years old. I just grew up in fishing and on boats. I managed to put a daughter through college through my fishing efforts. I've got a son I put through college that crewed with me up until he graduated in 2002. For me, it isn't a job, it's a life.
We have such an untouched habitat, and the habitat is so healthy that people have been able to make a living, and it's been a viable business to be in and a part of. They're almost all sole proprietors. Small businesses and people like myself love boats and the water and would like to own a small business and be part of that vibrant economy. Bristol Bay is an incredible producer of seafood for the world, really. I mean, it's probably one of the last places that really continues to produce on a biological level. The amount of biomass in terms of crab and halibut and cod and salmon that goes around the world, it feeds the world practically.
It's just so important to us. We can't be fooled by short-term money and short-term jobs that we'd gain and ruin the fishery that has been here for thousands of years and supported our elders.
The salmon in Bristol Bay they're a God-given resource, and they will come back year after year if they're treated properly. And right now, Bristol Bay is just a beautiful example how it can be regulated to the benefit of both the fish and the economy.
You know, this is the place where we grow our food, and anything that would potentially threaten the genetic codes of those species up there and its habitat, I think would be a very unfortunate policy decision.
My message to legislators is that offshore oil and gas development is short-term minded.
This is a debate between renewable resources and finite resources.
It's not taking into account the needs of local residents, the Yupik Eskimos who've been there for thousands of years.
For a finite resource to be harvested, for lack of a better term, at the expense of a renewable resource that has a history of over 100 years and then has been consistent and sustainable because of the wonderful ecosystem that's involved up there, to jeopardize that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Our fisheries generate about $2 billion a year in income. Thousands of jobs and subsistence food that feed our people.
Please take a look at the big picture.
While it's a very complex issue, I urge our elected officials to look at it in its entirety.
You're risking doing away with a way of life that's been there ever since the salmon and the other sea life has been there.
We need to change course. I think this is the perfect timing to make that change.
In March 2010, the President recognized the value of Bristol Bay, prohibiting offshore development until 2017. Now is the time to protect America's fish basket permanently.